Haribol, Namaste, and welcome again to Krishna book reading number 11 video. We are reading from the Krishna book as a compilation of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, originally compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, and in this case translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And as usual, we are going to start our beginning of our class with some kirtan. So feel free to enjoy and engage in this process of hearing and chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam, the hearing and chanting. So just relax, sit back, listen the first time through, second time through, repeat back with me, and just relax in the sounds of names of Krishna. Krishna Haribo. So in the beginning of these classes, I actually mentioned a little mantra prayer that we say that's from the opening of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So that is a prayer that is offering respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we usually like to start our reading of Krishna stories with that prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So you can feel free to respond when I say it as well. Because in the Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and repeating of the mantras of the sacred names and attributes and pastimes of Krishna, it is non-different. The names are non-different than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A person who engages in the Shravanam Kirtanam, is the most fortunate living entity, because it is known that there is no higher way. No Harinama 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 Eva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatira Anyata. There is no other way for realization, no better way, no other way than the hearing and chanting Krishna's names. So we're going to continue. We were reading from chapter 3, which is the birth of Lord Krishna. And we were hearing about the wonderful auspiciousness that all the lands and all the situations and all the astrological signs and the planets and the moon came into full exposure, right? And it was not even in its cycle, but because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the moon came in its fullness. Everything was auspicious and wonderful for the appearance of the Lord. And Krishna came and appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki, who were in the prison of Kamsa. And he says, Vasudeva saw that wonderful child born as a baby with 4 hands, holding conch shell, club, disc, and lotus flower decorated with the mark of Srivatsha, wearing the jeweled necklace of Kaustuba stone, dressed in yellow silk, appearing dazzling like a bright blackish cloud, wearing a helmet bedecked with the Vidura stone, valuable bracelets, earrings, and similar other ornaments all over his body, and an abundance of hair on his head. Due to the extraordinary features of the child, Vasudeva was struck with wonder. How could a newly born child be so decorated? He could therefore understand that Lord Krishna now appeared, and he became overpowered by the occasion. Vasudeva very humbly wondered that although he was an ordinary living entity conditioned by material nature and was externally imprisoned by Kamsa, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, was appearing as a child in his home, exactly in his original position. No earthly child is born with 4 hands, decorated with ornaments and nice clothing, fully equipped with all the signs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Over and over again, Vasudeva glanced at his child, and he considered how to celebrate this auspicious moment. Generally, when a male child is born, he thought, people observe the occasion with jubilant celebrations, and in my home, although I am imprisoned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken birth. How many millions and millions of times should I be prepared to observe this auspicious ceremony? When Vasudeva, who is also called Anakadundubi, was looking at his newborn baby, he was so happy that he wanted to give many thousands of cows in charity to the Brahmanas. According to the Vedic system, whenever there is an auspicious ceremony in the Kshatriya king's palace, the king gives many things in charity. Cows decorated with golden ornaments are delivered to the Brahmanas and sages. Vasudeva wanted to perform a charitable ceremony to celebrate Krishna's appearance, but because he was shackled within the walls of Kamsa's prison, this was not possible. Instead, within his mind, he gave thousands of cows to the Brahmanas. So, the offering of love to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is really what Krishna wants, because this is our natural state, is in a loving relationship. It's not really important to give, how much you give, but how you give, what kind of consciousness you're giving in. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one can offer me a fruit, a flower, a little bit of water, and I will accept it. And if it's offered in love, that is the best offering. So someone can offer the Supreme Lord millions of dollars, but not do it out of love, and Krishna will not want it. Krishna wants the love behind it. There's a similar story too, where there was a great sage who was poor. He was very poor, and he didn't have the money to do really nice offerings or offer really nice food. He had very minimal things, but he used to pretend in his mind that in love he would be offering with these gold ornaments and ghee lamps that they offer for offerings of fire and wonderful, sweet things and wonderful tasting things. And he used to always offer these things in his mind, so much that it pleased the Supreme Lord. So the one time when he was offering in his mind some sweet rice, he thought, oh, I will check the temperature to see if it's too hot for the Lord. And he touched it in his mind, but in real life, while he was meditating on it, he saw he had burned his finger. And that was a really fun joke, because Krishna, has a great sense of humor. And in Krishna, he was like, oh, how did that happen? How could that happen? And then Krishna, of course, appeared before him. And that's a wonderful story, just showing that whether you're offering something tangible or you're offering something, in your mind, if it is done in love and offering to the Supreme Lord, Krishna will accept it. When Vasudeva was convinced that the newborn child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he bowed down with folded hands and began to offer him prayers. At that time, Vasudeva was in the transcendental position, and he became completely free from all fear of Kamsa. The newborn baby was also flashing his effulgence within the room in which he appeared. Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities, and the absolute truth. You have appeared in your own eternal form, which is directly perceived by us. I understand that because I am afraid of Kamsa, you have appeared just to deliver me from that fear. You do not belong to this material world. You are the same person who brings about the cosmic manifestation simply by glancing over material nature. So Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of God, as the source of all things, can come and go as he likes. He can appear within his original form, which is completely spiritual, in the material world, but he is not affected by the same modes of material nature or energy of Maya, Maya Devi, as we've talked about before. He's not affected by the laws of nature like the living entities are. That's why they call the Jivatmas, or the living entities, marginal energies, or marginal, because they can be influenced by Krishna, or they can be influenced by Maya, the external energy of Krishna, depending on whether or not they want to serve Krishna in love, or they want to serve themselves as Krishna. So Krishna never comes under his own energy. And we were talking last time about the impersonal yogic thought, I guess you could say, Mayavadi philosophy, which believes that the external energy of God influences God to think that he is a living entity, and he has split himself up, which is actually ridiculous, because that would ultimately mean that the energy that has come from God has become more powerful than God. So God never becomes influenced by the energies, his external energies. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the whole cosmic manifestation simply by his glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. To eradicate this argument, Vasudeva said, My dear Lord, it is not a very wonderful thing that you appear within the womb of Devaki, because the creation was also made in that way. You are lying in the causal ocean as Mahavishnu, and by your breathing process, innumerable universes came into existence. Then you entered into each of the universes as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then again you expanded yourself as Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and entered into the hearts of all living entities, and entered even within the atoms. Therefore your entrance in the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but a combination of 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside of the body. So this is really important to note, because the elements of the external energy, whatever element they might be, earth, water, fire, air, is inconsistent changing over. It's coming in one body, it's going out another body, it's in something that the body of that living being or creature or whatever might will break down, and then it'll mix, all the elements will mix with the earth, and the earth will take on some heat, and so there's constant changing over of energy that goes on eternally, actually, as long as there are living entities within the desire to lord and control over it. There will be an external energy in material universes. You were lying in the causal... Okay, so I read that already. Then you expanded yourself as Kshirodakshai Vishnu and entered into the hearts of all living entities, and entered even within the atoms. Therefore, your entrance is in the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but a combination of 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that the elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside of the body. Similarly, although you appear as a child in the womb of Devaki, you are also existing outside. You are always in your abode, but still you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms. And people are wondering why. How is that? How is it possible that God can be in everyone's heart, all living entities' heart, and still be in all the atoms of the external energy, of the material energy, into this universe, and at the same time existing in the spiritual abode? Well, because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I think a lot of times it's a funny thing, because we think, I can't do that, so nobody else can do that. I can't imagine that. My mind can't figure that out, therefore it doesn't exist, which is the argument of the atheist. I can't figure it out, therefore it doesn't exist. But here we see in scriptural injunctions and scripture handed down from teacher to teacher, from the Supreme Lord, the actual authority, the explanation, and you can take it as it is. One has to understand your appearance with great intelligence, because the material energy is also emanating from you. You are the original source of the material energy, just as the sun is the source of the sunshine. The sunshine cannot cover the sun globe, nor can the material energy, being an emanation from you, cover you, was what I said before. You appear to be in the 3 modes of material nature, but actually the 3 modes of material nature cannot cover you. This is understood by the highly intellectual philosophers. In other words, although you appear to be within the material energy, you are never covered by it. So the living entities, because we're marginal, we are influenced by the modes of material nature. And maybe we can have a class sometime about to explain the 3 modes of material nature that influence all the living entities within this material world. Sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. We hear from the Vedic version that the Supreme Brahman exhibits his effulgence, and therefore everything becomes illuminated. We can understand from Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyoti, or the Brahman effulgence, the white light emanating from the body of Krishna, emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord, and from the Brahman effulgence all creation takes place. So there is a creation, but because Krishna is not directly involved, through indirectly he creates the bodies and the living entities, forms within this material world, but not directly. So sometimes people have an understanding about, like humans were created, but it's not a complete understanding. It's as Bhaktivedanta would say, people have a poor fund of knowledge, so they don't have a complete understanding of when God creates, like in a Christian concept, there's much more to that than is known in some of those religious thoughts. We hear from the Vedic version. Okay, I read that. All right. Originally, he is the root cause of everything, but persons who are less intelligent think that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes within this material world, he accepts the material qualities. Such conclusions are not very mature, but are made by the less intelligent. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is directly and indirectly existing everywhere. He is outside this material creation. He is also within it. Inconceivable potencies. That's what it is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, and he is inconceivable in so many things that he does. So how do you expect, if we can't even figure out, how to balance our bank book, how to we're so illusioned by so many things, we make so many mistakes as humans with our mind and our calculations of things, and we think we can figure out with our brain the existence of God. It just doesn't happen that way. He is within the material creation, not only as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he is also within the atom. Existence is due to his presence. Nothing can be separated from his existence. In the Vedic injunction, we find that the Supreme Soul, or the root cause of everything, has to be searched out, because nothing exists independent of the Supreme Soul. Nothing is independent. So we that's why we're in this material world. We want to pretend like we're independent, but we are actually not independent of anything, really. We are independent in our mind, but we're so dependent on anything. We have to get up, we have to eat food, we have to go to the bathroom when we have to go to the bathroom. It's not like we say, I don't really want to go to the bathroom. We have to go to the bathroom. We have to get sleep. We are controlled by weather and nature. We are controlled by other living entities. And there's, very little that we have any control over, actually. Therefore, the material manifestation is also a transformation of his potency. Both inert matter and the living force, soul, are emanations from him. So the energy, the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, these are all material energy that comes from Krishna. But the living entity, the Jivatma, is spiritual in nature. It's of a higher, the same energy as the Supreme Lord. And the material energy is the inferior energy. And this is explained also in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, where it says earth, water, fire, air, and ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all are inferior natures. These are my inferior nature, but there are also superior nature, which is the living entity, which is struggling with these inferior energies, trying to enjoy them, not knowing of their real existence. Only the foolish conclude that when the Supreme Lord, let's see here, I'm going to jump back here, let's see. He's within the material creation, not only as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay, I read that part, sorry, I was jumping ahead. The Supreme Brahman and all phenomena are existing with you, and all the activities of material nature are controlled by your lordship. You are called Shuklam. Shuklam, or whiteness, is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth, because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta, or red, because Brahma represents the qualities of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva, because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of this cosmic manifestation is conducted by your potencies, yet you are always unaffected by those qualities, as confirmed in the Vedas, Hari Hi Niguna Shakshat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord. My Lord, you are the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Great, maintaining the order of this cosmic manifestation. And in spite of your being the Supreme Controller, you have so kindly appeared in my home. The purpose of your appearance is to kill the followers of the demoniac rulers of the world, who are in the dress of royal princes, but are actually demons. I am sure that you will kill all of them, and their followers and soldiers. I understand that you have appeared to kill the uncivilized Kamsa and his followers, but knowing that you were to appear to kill him and his followers, he has already killed so many of your predecessors, elder brothers. Now he is simply awaiting the news of your birth. As soon as he hears about it, he will immediately appear with all kinds of weapons to kill you. After this prayer of Vasudeva, Devaki, the mother of Krishna, offered her prayers. She was very frightened because of her brother's atrocities. And that was a long prayer by Vasudeva. Now Devaki is going to pray, and it's so wonderful. I don't want to cut it off, so I'm going to actually include it into the next video. But this is so wonderful story, the Krishna Katha, hearing about Krishna's pastime. So much wonderful philosophy explained by Bhaktivedanta Swami. So I recommend that if you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to comment in the comment sections of these videos. You can go back. I've made, I guess this is the 11th video now. They're in my YouTube channel. So like my YouTube channel, subscribe, share, all those things. Not because I want the followers, but because I want to help share these wonderful stories which are transcendental and are a prime benediction and blessing for humanity to hear Krishna Katha. So thank you so much. I'm going to do some more kirtan on the way out here, and we'll see you on the next time through. Haribo, Nitako, Nitako, Haribo, Haribo, Nitako, Nitako, Haribo, Haribo, Nitako, Nitako, Haribo, Haribo. Nitako, Nitako, Haribo. Haribol. We will see you for the next video. Stay tuned.